I'm ready. Uday sir, I'll tell you when you're set to
3, 2, 1, we are live. Over to you, Tilottama.
Thanks, Phanindra sir, and good evening, everyone. I'm Tilottama Srinivasa. I'm a mechanical engineer and entrepreneur, and I'm also your anchor today. Welcome to day 7 and webinar 13 of the Changemakers Summer Camp webinar series. In this session, we'll try to understand how India has transformed through innovation over the last several years. The session will be held by Mr. Uday Ranganath Birje. Mr. Uday Birje is the founder of Think Street Technologies. He has been involved in various startup initiatives of the government and private institutions across India. He's an alumnus of Harvard Business School, and he has completed his executive education with a specialization in authentic leadership and corporate governance. He's also a mentor of change associated with the Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, Government of India. Now, in today's webinar, Mr. Uday Birje will help us understand the transformation and its impact on New India through innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership. If you have any questions during the session, please type them in the Zoom or YouTube chat windows, and we will take up your questions at the end of the webinar. Now, before we start the session and I hand it over to Uday sir, I request the participants to mark their attendance in a Google form. I'll be sharing the link shortly, from time to time. Now, it's important that you mark your attendance during the session because this form will be open only during the session. Okay. So, and of course, as you always, those who attend the session will receive a participation certificate at the end of the summer camp. Okay, so I think we were already a little late in starting. So without too much further ado, let me now invite Mr. Uday Birje to start the seminar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tilottama. So I hope everybody can see the slides. Can somebody confirm from the organizing team?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Tilottama. Thank you, everybody, for setting up this fantastic summer camp. And I think it is, the Bangalore weather is so hot. It's good to be here at home on Sunday and talking to some young entrepreneurs or young leaders of the future. So I was just going through the fantastic list of topics that the team has covered in the last 6 days, almost pretty much a holistic view of view for the youngsters, right from creative thinking to innovation, solopreneurship, entrepreneurship. So we have seen almost everything. So today's topic is a sort of summary of what has happened in the last 6 days, as well as what India is going through. So transformation to New India. Almost everybody, I guess, youngsters, all the young ones, surely will understand that what they have not noticed, you'll be amazed with the kind of transformation that India is going through. All of us, at least I'm in the 50+ age bracket, I have seen almost, the kind of technology where we used to stand in a queue for 2 to 4 hours to buy a train ticket. So now you don't even need to go to a railway station. So we will see what is the kind of fantastic transformation India is going through and some of the enablers of that and who is enabling this transformation. Okay. So every day for me, actually, it's almost like a mantra, and transformation should be like a mantra, transformation or change. In fact, if you see the whole concept of the summer camp revolves around the change makers. So you are the change makers transforming India. So that is the spirit. I mean, we, the seniors, are just the enablers, I would think. And of course, we are contributing to the transformation by inspiring, by mentoring and doing so many things. But I thought, especially for people across the country and my home state, the meaning of transformation. So it is for you too, it should be a mantra because it is a change that India is going through and you have to see that noticeable change. Okay. So before I get into some aspects of the real transformation that India is going through, I see all of you students, the young ones, are in fantastic schools. whichever city you could be. You could be in Bangalore or Mysore or Shimoga or in Delhi or Calcutta or wherever. The teachers there are doing a fantastic job of giving you the knowledge. And if you see the dots, that is the knowledge that comes from, let's say, different in different subjects like science and history and social studies or English or whatever could be the subjects. So these are the dots. These are the islands that come to your mind in different directions or different forms or whatever it is. And what experience leads to is you will be able to connect the dots. That was what will convert into like a meaningful innovation or a meaningful transformation, whether it is of a product or development of a product or invention of a product or innovation of a service or something like that. So why is this important? All of us here, the mentors specifically, bring in almost, I would say, average of 30 plus years of experience. And that experience today, in the last, including the last 6 days, is what you could relate to some kind of a meaningful connect, helping you connect the dots. Let me give you a statement, especially for the young students. Okay, a experience can get you to places where a degree cannot, which means understanding some of the experience that we are relating to, understanding the experience that you go through on a day-to-day basis when you are mentored. I think that is something which is invaluable. So my suggestion, my suggestion to all of you is never miss an opportunity to engage with an experienced person. It could be anybody, your friend, your neighbor, your elderly, maybe neighbors or father or mother or whatever. They bring in a lot of experience. It's invaluable. So use that experience to, maybe get yourself inspired and, come out with some kind of a meaningful innovation in life. Okay. So transformation, as I gave you three, definitions or other three language transformation. I think we are all going through transformation. What we were when, or you are all the 16-year-old, 15-year-old, maybe up to 18-year-old children, what you were when you were, below 10 and what you are today, you will be amazed when you sit back and reflect on that. Okay, right from the time you got to understand what India is all about to what India is today when you started using certain technologies like internet or certain apps or, including during COVID time, many of you would have experienced online education. So this is nothing, I mean, if you see the similarity here, nature itself is innovating. It is going through a transformation. I picked up one example here. All of you would have studied in biology or, in your science subject, right from a very, very, humble looking eggs of a, insect to a beautiful butterfly. That is a transformation process, right? So, each stage has its different goal. I mean, once the egg becomes a caterpillar, you can see that physically. And then it becomes what you call as a pupa or a chrysalis or what they call it. Especially in a silkworm, I mean, that chrysalis is what leads to, gives you silk. And then it comes out as a beautiful butterfly. So that is what, if you can relate and if you can use an analogy of transformation, that is what India has gone through. Let's say from 1947 to 75 years of independence, you will see the amazing transformation that we have gone through. Okay. So there is another fundamental change, especially we seniors, the mentors have seen, in the last, I would say last 8 to 10 years. When my batch of engineering students passed out, many of them went abroad, mostly to US or UK, or some of them to Asian countries like Singapore or Malaysia or Australia for their higher education. But you know what they did? Mostly these people, my peers, or maybe the future generation, couple of generations, all went to these countries and were solving that country's problems. If you see, the most of the, I would say almost about 15 to 20% top companies today are headed by Indians, right? From Sundar Pichai to Satya Nadella to Narasimhan of Starbucks, or so many of them. So these are the people a couple of decades or 3-4 decades back went to US, studied there, did exceedingly well, and became CEOs, and they're solving to a greater extent America's problems, and of course, some companies are solving global problems. Today, in the last 8 to 10 years, what we are seeing is the reversal of trend. Youngsters like you and some of our own, let's say, last 1 decade or 2 decade kind of people who have stayed back or coming back and solving India's problems. I mean, in fact, you don't have to come back. Many of them are focusing on how do I give back to India? How do I help in the transformation of India? That is what is going on. That is the biggest transformative mindset that is going on in the country. Okay. And also, let me give you one important thing. Why is a school? When I studied in school almost 30 plus years back, I studied in National Public School in Bangalore. We did not have this opportunity of interacting with such an experienced set of mentors. Who were our mentors? Our mentors were our parents, or of course our great teachers and the teaching staff of the entire school, or maybe sometimes our parents' friends in the industry or whatever. They were our mentors. But today we have an organized organization, I would say, under the government of India, which is helping you understand the various technologies. So you are extremely lucky from that point of view. And in fact, I see in some of this, the fact that Atal Tinkering Labs has been set up in many of the schools. I know many of the schools, many of the students here who may not have ATL experience, but ATL as a lab setup in your school itself is a fantastic sign, which means innovation for transformation of India is one of the key aspects for our own growth. So when the country grows, we grow. When we grow, the country grows. Okay, when we transform, the country gets transformed. And let me tell you, transformation is possible not through any magic, not through any, it's not a subject specifically on transformation. Transformation happens through education. Right from basic education about 20 years back, today you are getting exposed to transformation, innovation, startups, entrepreneurship. Amazing. In fact, my younger daughter just passed out of school. Now she is in college. About 4 or 5 years back, when I went to one of the school day functions, and they had an innovation fair in the school. So we never thought of that. So this itself is a great transformation, and all of you are extremely lucky. I think you must make the best use of this opportunity, and which means in the innovative mindset, in the innovation starts at your school or the college level. Okay, so make the best use of the opportunity. So as you grow up, you could be the next Sundar Pichais of the world, or the Satya Nadellas of the world, or Narayan Murthis of the world, or anybody, okay, or the Ratan Tatas of the world, who have done exceedingly well as entrepreneurs. Okay, so the most important, as I told you, who is leading this transformation? Who are the people? You are the champions of change. When we said change makers, you are the change makers. I would call that you are the champions of change. You are anywhere between 12 to 18 or 16 years old. And when you grow up in the next 5 years, you'll be working for some multinational corporations or great Indian companies, or you could become an entrepreneur and a unicorn, right? So you are going to lead the change. If you see the examples today, whether it is Zomato or Ola or Uber or many of the other applications like the Oyo or so many applications, or the Flipkarts or the Amazons, they are all built today. All the changes, all the technologies they're adopting is with you, by you, and for your kind of a customer base. So all of you are, I would say, the Gen Z. If you see, I put together a definition of what is Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and the millennials. All of us in the 50 years age bracket, at least I am. So we have passed that millennial stage, right? But we continue to innovate. Some of us are, in fact, I run a couple of startups in different innovation sectors. So you are the Gen Z, you are leading the change. You are the champions of change. You are the change makers. And the beauty of this is you are building solutions for yourself, which means you are the biggest customer base in the country today. Why is every country thinking of partnering in India? Because you, the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and the millennials contribute to 65% of India's population, which means we are a minority. We are just the rest of it. We are the 35%, you are the 65%. So don't you think it is easy? Because you understand what is the pain point that you're going through when you build the solutions. And how is the transformation happening? Transformation is happening through big time through technologies like drones, artificial intelligence, metaverse, social media, robotics, many things. I don't think we have the time to go into deep into each one of them, but I have one or two examples and videos. Okay. So let us understand I think most of you in school, you go through lots and lots of stories or examples of invention. Okay. So the invention is something that you are creating completely new. But I would think that schooling and college students in today's environment should focus more on innovation. So innovation is nothing but creating something new using the existing invention. What are the examples of invention? I have some examples right now. So don't get stressed or don't spend too much of time trying to invent something, because you will be able to invent possibly if you have the right environment or if you have the right encouragement or support as you move forward in your career and in education life. But right now you should think of how I should innovate using current inventions. So let me give you an example. So this is a great example of invention leading to innovation, right? Who invented the electric bulb? I think in the early ages, our forefathers. I know especially my father was in the 80 years age bracket. He tells me that either they studied with the lamps or the kerosene lamps, or some very rare street lights. Okay. Later came the invention called electric bulb, and the different forms of those bulb, which is the CFL bulbs, which is more or less obsolete, and the latest the LED bulbs. Okay. So this is an invention. What great invention that Thomas Alva invented, converting to an innovation called LED bulbs. So there could be other technologies. The LED today, we have very small form factor LED bulbs which are more powerful than this size of the LED bulb that I've shown you, which gives more light. Okay, so this is one example. I have a few other examples. Look at this. Graham Bell. I come from this industry of networking and telecom. Graham Bell invented telephony. The first telephone call, I don't know the number of years back, more than 100 years back. So the same technology or the same invention was utilized by Apple Inc., which is one of the greatest innovative companies, to invent the first smartphone. Okay, smartphone is a combination of various functions, from music MP3 player to the camera to voice to various internet applications is called a smartphone, right? So similarly, other example, Ford. I think Graham Ford or somebody, I don't know, some Ford, one of the Ford family members, built the first automobile. And today we have Tesla, which is possibly the most popular electric cars in the world. And so basically, an automobile invention was used by Tesla to come out with an electric car. Okay. Similarly, invention of www led to various fantastic applications. Zoom today that we are using is a great application on the smartphone or on the desktop. So my suggestion to you is utilize the current inventions and come out with great innovations that will solve problems for the country or for the community or for the society. Okay. So here's one example. I already made a brief mention on that. You see, in the 1980s, when we were like you, we were the Gen Z of that time. We used to, have these card kind of tickets. We used to go to the railway station, even to book a, 100-kilometer train ticket from Bangalore to Mysore or Bangalore to Tumkur or any of the smaller cities. Train was always is a popular choice. So we used to get this manual, like a very crude looking card from and the waiting period was up to 3 hours. Today, if you look at this, today we have right sitting here as you are, listening to our speech or whatever, you could be booking it on IRCTC, you could book a train ticket in just a matter of a couple of minutes, payment and then train ticket. I never thought when I was in the 80s, when I was as a teenager, I never thought that I don't have to go to the railway station. I'll be able to book right in my bedroom or living room or sitting in a cafeteria and I can book a ticket, not just for India. I can book a ticket in Europe or Amtrak in the US, right? So that is the transformation. And it has happened over the last couple of decades, slowly. And I'm really honored, I would say privileged to be a part of this transformation because we did the ticketing networks. I mean, my previous companies. In fact, I was leading the team for the ticketing network for partly for Indian Railways and Konkan Railways. And what will the future be? Today, you're talking of booking on the app, and you have to carry maybe the phone and show it to the at the entrance, saying that here's my PNR number and here's my seat number and whatever. The future bullet train, that bullet train is almost because of all the COVID delays. I think it's well on the path. Bullet train is going to, you'll experience bullet train in the next 3 to 4 years from Bombay to Ahmedabad. You don't even have to, use a smartphone. Through facial recognition, the bullet train door will open and you'll automatically get it. And why do we have to wait to the bullet train? If any of you gone to the airport, it's already happening today. Okay, if you have registered for the the DigiYatra app, you just walk in because through your the cameras will scan your face through facial recognition. The doors will open and you get into it. So no need of a printed body card, no need even of a smartphone. So that is happening through artificial intelligence. Okay, so I think I need to move faster. So the Indian Railways touches almost everybody, right from the remotest person, a farmer or a shopkeeper in the remotest corner of the country, to the CEO who's using maybe a Vande Bharat Express or anybody or a Rajdhani or whatever. It touches everybody across the country. So the biggest transformation example is the Indian Railways. The next biggest is all about money, all about business, commerce. Believe me, my grandfather got retired in 1980s, early 80s, I think. And he used to give me a check, a handwritten check, and say that from his pension funds, go and draw 200 rupees. I'm not exaggerating. Go to the bank, Syndicate Bank. I remember Syndicate Bank. It used to be a 1 hour wait in the queue to draw 200 rupees. Today, you don't even need to go to the bank. You have UPI, your online payments, your Google Pay, your Paytm, so many other payment methods. Even to buy a 5 rupees chocolate, like a 5-star for 5 rupees, you go to the shopkeeper, scan the mobile phone, pay through UPI. That's the beauty of the transformation in India. In fact, you should all be proud that India is leading the banking transformation, the financial transformation. Okay, in fact, many countries, developed countries, are acknowledging the fact that India has transformed so much. India is so much ahead in terms of in the fintech technologies. Okay, so this has happened over the last 2-3 decades from a very simple internet-based teller counters to ATMs now to completely online or net banking. Okay, let me give you a forecast. In future, you will not see ATMs. Future, in fact, I am seeing in the banks, they have removed the check printing machines. They have removed the deposit machines. They are keeping some very few places. They are just keeping some normal ATMs because cash is still required. They say cash is king, but cash is required in certain transactions. So, but in the future, I would say that next 10 years, there will be no ATMs. Okay, that is all about digital banking. Okay, so the buzzwords in the transformation, in the process of transformation that you will see is the hashtags that you should popularly search for is obviously future of work, how is work is transforming. The country is transforming means work is transforming. We are all impacted. Education is transforming. We are today in the last 3 to 4 years, we have all worked, you all studied through online. So that is a great example of future of work and education. Entrepreneurship. Let me tell you, I think India is now the most populous country. We cannot provide jobs for every millennial or every Gen X or Gen Y or Gen Z. Entrepreneurship is the best route. So I would urge all of you in think one direction. Of course, all of you want to become IAS officers, IPS officers. Many of you want to get into politics or so many other fields in your careers. But I think that instead of becoming a job seeker, think of becoming a job giver. Okay. And I also mentioned education. Without education, our education will need transformation. And transformation will happen only through education. And it's all the examples that I have given you, the Indian Railways and the banking system, it's because of our own engineers. UPI was invented or innovated by our own engineers. And that has happened through all the great software and the technology engineers who were passed out in the last 2 decades. I know many of them. Personally, I know some of the departments. And then future is all about skills. It is not good enough. If you get, I saw in the newspaper that one student got 100 out of 100, I think in certain subjects, almost he topped the school. I think in all the subjects he got 100. I don't know. Something I saw in the headline. Fantastic achievement. Academics is important. Okay. But skills is equally important. And today the world is all about skills. Okay, it's not good enough to have a distinction or a great degree. And there are various skills. I'm not talking about just technology skills. There could be even simpler skills like public speaking, communication, so many other things. So I have a few list of that. So how is future of work transforming? How is our work transforming? I picked up one example, right? Today, in fact, my young daughters, both of them, hardly visit a store. They mostly go through the websites of Amazon or Myntra or Flipkart or whatever, and they get an experience and order most of them. And they do visit the stores, but less frequently than what we used to. Okay. And today, I think some of you may have noticed that Apple opened its first store in Bombay, just about a week back. Okay. And let me tell you, I think, Apple opened a store and they hired the best MBAs and best BTech engineers to man the store. In our times, we used to think that being in a store is like a low-level job. But look at it. Has hired some top-notch professionals or educated people to man the stores because the way the product launches happen, the way the features are there in some of the technology products, it requires different skills. Maybe just a BA graduate or a BSc graduate may not be able to explain some of the features, the in-depth features, may not be able to know the intricacies of internet, the applications or whatever. So they've hired some highly qualified and skilled engineers. So here I found a good example of how a product launch will look like in the future. Okay. And you don't have to, you can launch the product sitting at your home, and you can watch the product launch sitting at your home. Okay. Look at this. This is using metaverse. Wow, I mean, this is just amazing. I think, I saw this just about a week back, and I was privileged to attend a metaverse conference recently where I was part of the organizing team. It's amazing, right? I think at the earlier you must have seen, I think there used to be VIPs used to be called to cut a tape and then do your product launch, and somebody will open a ribbon and do your product launch. Think about this, the metaverse based product launch, it's much faster. You can bring out a product, launch like this tomorrow, right? You don't have to wait for a, hire a 5-star hotel or, invite a VIP. So even if you invite a VIP can do the product launch right sitting at home from his office. So that is the beauty of the transformation. And India, being a greenfield country in many areas of technology, is one of the early adopters. Let me tell you, our 5G and the future 6G kind of technologies, we are far ahead. You will experience 5G. In fact, already, some of the service providers are already providing 5G services. Okay, you are experiencing 5G much faster than some of the children in the developed countries like America and UK, or even Germany or some of the European countries. I mentioned about skills. I think some of this have been covered, like, critical thinking. I saw some of it, my peers did a course on critical thinking, talk on critical thinking, art of selling, project management, art of negotiation, leadership. You all have great potential to become leaders. Okay, it's not good enough to be a just fantastic innovator or a software coding person or whatever. You need to bring out your leadership talent outside to survive in this competitive world. Okay. So I have another video. I think I have another few minutes, 2 or 3 more minutes. Then I think I should be set. This is my favorite video. I use this as like a mantra for me. Okay, and I get inspired. In fact, when I feel a little bit lost, I just look at this video. In fact, I would urge you to watch the 30-minute video which is available on YouTube. Watch this, you will get inspired. Many of you have not seen him or seen the person, but you will be amazed with the kind of innovative thinking that this person had. And there is an India angle to this as well.
So I think the sound isn't on.
From my side, it's on.
I think you need to reshare with optimizing sound.
No, but I'm able to. Oh, is it? Okay. So anyway, I think I would urge you to all of you to see the Steve Jobs Stanford University commencement speech, which is available on YouTube. See that. I think it is such a simple speech, very path-breaking, very inspiring. As I told you, I keep showing this speech to the youngsters, and some of them are get so emotional looking at this, and sometimes they relate to a transformation that they want to go through. Okay, so here is the quiz today. Okay. Here is the quiz for today, and I'm a pretty easygoing teacher, so I have made it as simple as possible. So, New India, what is New India? So you need to record your answers and send it to the organizers. Obviously, they have some, I guess, evaluation process. And then, who's Steve Jobs? So, what is Gen Z? And so 3 very easy questions. And I love to give 100 out of 100 to all my students. So here are 3 easy questions. Record your answers and send it to the organizers so they have some possible, certificates or prizes for you. And here's some homework for you. This is open for irrespective of which city you come from or which state you come from, whether you are in a second-tier city or a town or wherever. You can choose one of them and come out with ideas. First is an idea, which is a traffic problem, which is a perennial problem. The wider the roads you make, more the traffic. So I travel all across the country. Believe me, the traffic problem that you see in Bangalore or Delhi or Mumbai, it is the same whether when you go to Dubai. When in Paris, on certain days, in certain period, it's jam. In Singapore, you go on Sunday, the entire Little India looks like Bangalore, even from the traffic point of view. You go to Chennai, it's the same. You go to Calcutta, it's the same. So it is a perennial problem. Of course, the governments and the authorities are doing their best. But let us see what innovative solutions that you can come up with. Okay. The similar agriculture, I think 70% or 60+% of our economy or our people still live in the villages or agriculturalists. So come out with some innovative solutions to make their productivity better. How they can harvest faster, how they can, possibly have multiple harvests by harvesting faster. So come out with a 5-slide simple solution and send it to the organizers. I think they will evaluate and get back to you. Finally, here's my slide. And this is somebody who inspires me again. And I believe many of you have not even seen Ratan Tata, and he is such a legend. And I think one thing you need to remember when you build a solution, when you solve a problem, keep your community in mind. Okay? Don't solve problems which is disrupting the community, which is, creating some kind of a negative situation in the community. Think of how you can impact the community as you become a CEO, as you become an innovator, as you become an entrepreneur or a solopreneur or whatever you are. Keep your community and society in mind. Okay. Today, I think, most of the companies are possibly generating crores and millions of dollars of profit, but they keep a small percentage of the profit to give back to the community or give back to the society for various causes. So keep that in mind. We never have this. When we were young children, we never had this. We used to feel sad for the blind. We used to see some blind or physically handicapped or such underprivileged people on the streets, but we didn't know what to do. But today, with the awareness, I think various schools and organizations are coming together. Think of, while you are solving a problem, how you can contribute to that community. Okay, that is entire Tata as an enterprise thinks of that. They are one of the biggest, right from JRD Tata, who set up Indian Institute of Science, to today's Ratan Tata and the TCS. So many companies, their biggest mandate is to give back to the country. They use all their profits, to contribute to the country. So you must think like that. So there are, of course, Tatas are not the only one. Many such organizations, in fact, all organizations are contributing in a way. Okay. So I think Phanindra and team, I have completed my presentation. So you may want to have an interaction or whatever. Thank you and Jai Hind. Have I finished early or late? Or
no, sir. I'm just thank you. Thank you so much for such an interesting session.
Shall I say
the whole session. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, I will just stop the share and then I can see more people. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, there, sir, for such an interesting session on transformation to New India through innovation. Now, I hope this session has inspired many budding innovators, entrepreneurs, and change makers among the students. to transform India to even greater heights. Now, I think we have a little bit of time for questions. And there were a few questions already in the chat box. So, sir, I think I'm going to start with asking you some of them. And for the others, please don't raise your hand. We don't have time to, let you speak. So please type out your questions in the chat window. Yeah. Okay. So two questions to start with. One is, what should we do to make Indians stay in India after they finish their education instead of going abroad for jobs?
I'm really happy. Somebody who has asked the question, I would love to see you lead that particular initiative. I think the biggest, right now, it's already, you should be happy, to note that this is already happening. So we used to call this phenomena of people going from here to other countries as brain drain. Okay. Now the concept of brain gain is happening, which means the Indians are coming back and contributing to India's transformation or innovation story or entrepreneurial journey or whatever it is. But let me tell you, government is doing its bit to ensure that you get the same kind of world-class education that the American universities or the European universities or the other Asian universities are offering, right? So there are many world-class universities. I visit them on I can just name some of them. Manipal universities, world-class. The Vellore Institute of Technology is world-class. There are so many, Reliance Geo and so many of them. I think the government has come up with a scheme which is called the Institution of Eminence. So these institutions, apart from the IITs, the private institutions also can become the institutions of eminence. They have certain criteria. To meet that criteria, become institution of eminence, which means it is on par with an IIT or on par with some of the best in the world. Right? So it's great question, but it all leads to education. But let me tell you, earlier, it was a combination of education and opportunities, right? Which means opportunities to work, opportunities to solve problems. As I mentioned earlier, you have an opportunity to solve India's problems. Why should we? So there are so many initiatives like Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, Startup India. They're all India-centric initiatives. So you could be on such platforms to solve India's problems. So it's a combination of education as well as the opportunities. I believe both by the time you get into, let us say, master degrees, there will be world class. And just one more last bit of information. Just a couple of months back, UGC, which is the College Education Organization, UGC University Grants Commission, which is the leading education ministry department, has invited foreign universities to set up in India, which means the Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, London School of LSBs and things, LSEs and things, institutions like that are going to set up in India. Over the next 5 years, by the time you start getting into graduation or into masters, you could be studying in one of those universities right in India, right? So studying in India, there's a huge difference because you're in the ecosystem, okay? Great question, lead that, and I'd like to see you, whoever asked the questions, and all of you, stay back in India and solve India's problems.
So the next question was, what does greenfield country mean?
So when I say greenfield, I think it's nice. I'm really happy somebody asked this question. When I say, I wouldn't say greenfield opportunities or greenfield projects or greenfield industries. When you're starting ground up, like, when I started, I was always, trying to do new things in my career almost. So greenfield means starting from scratch, which means we did not have a great telephone network, but we straight away jumped into GSM technologies, which means we took a leapfrogged into the latest already. Okay. Similarly, in internet, various other internet technologies or various, like, some of the, the metro transportation networks that we have are far better than some of the other countries, the transportation networks in other countries. The drones that we have are far better technology than some of the drones that are being used in every field. So if you're starting from scratch, when I say greenfield, literally nothing on the ground, but you are building the latest, right? Let me give you a different analogy. If you buy, if you, I mean, you're very young, but if your father or your parents buy an old house, possibly, and modify it looks okay, modest it looks. But think about it, if greenfield, if you buy a new plot and build a fantastic house, okay, that's a greenfield project. Similarly, industries are being set up greenfield. So that's what it means. Greenfield means if you see the electric vehicles in two-wheelers, we are far ahead of many developed countries. Though Tesla is, Tesla is one of the leading electric car manufacturing companies, but I know many companies in India are setting up car manufacturing companies in the next 5 years. So these are all greenfield projects, which means when you set up something greenfield, so you have an opportunity to go in for the latest. So same way, I would say that India is a country for greenfield opportunities. Starting from scratch, starting from zero, buy the latest or set up the latest. Okay.
Okay, so there's one last question which is very interesting. But before that, I see that there are a lot of questions of people saying, why do Indians go abroad? Which Sir already answered. But just one little thing, I know our textbooks say that, like Sir said about brain drain and people going abroad, but it is a little outdated. I think now it is more like everybody wants to come to India. It's not just Indians. It's people in Europe, people in the US. They're all trying to come to India because our manufacturing sector is getting so big. And it's a very great time to be an engineer or be, around a professional in India. So all of you guys stay back. I mean, definitely go study wherever you like, but definitely come back and do things for India. Okay. So the last question, which is also an interesting one, is why do Indians work on global problems if we have problems of our own?
I think I would say that is a good question, but I think a little bit of awareness is required. We are solving Indian problems, and that is leading to solving global problems. Okay, I don't think we are going out, and that trend is gone already. As I told you earlier, we were solving America's problems, French problems, every other country problem, but our country had the maximum problem. But that trend is gone. Now, example. In fact, I was I was addressing 400 college students. I just asked them, give me a example of where we have solved a global problem. Everybody raised their hands and said, COVID vaccine, right? We solved our own problem of, having our own COVID vaccine, and we distributed that vaccine to 100+ countries. Think of the amount of goodwill that we have gained just because of that. And today, also, let me tell you, there are other examples. Ola, which is a car transportation company, I would say, or a car taxi aggregation company, has set up operations in London, has set up operation in Sydney, in Australia. Similarly, some of the other companies are all going and setting up operations, which means they're solving that country's problems, of course, in a competitive world. So there are many such problems, but the easiest for you to remember, because it is the precious thing that we are all proud of as Indians, because we saved so many lives in some of the poor countries in Africa and Asia by giving our vaccine free. Indian government gave this vaccine free to many countries who could not afford. Think about it. You must be proud of this. So we solved the global problems, after solving our problems. So in fact, while we were vaccinating all our youngsters and our own citizens, we were shipping vaccines to other countries. Okay, so I think that's a question of little bit of possibly lack of awareness, but no, we are not solving global problems first. We are solving our problems and then moving to global.
Okay, thank you, Uday sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule to conduct the webinar today. I also thank the audience for attending the webinar on transformation to New India through innovation. With this, we've come to the end of the Changemakers webinar series for this year. The last session of the Changemakers Summer Camp, which is going to start at 6 today, is the validatory function. Now, top performers during the summer camp will be recognized and honored during the session. So that the link for joining that session is different, as always, from this webinar's link. So at 6 o'clock, I request all of you to click on the validatory functions list and join us. So thanks again. Thank you for your time, both Uday sir and the audience. And see you folks at 6.
Thank you. Fantastic, Tilotama. I think great coordination. Thank you, all the team members. Thank you, students. All the best to you. Good luck. God bless you. Jai Hind.
Yes, thank you.